If you're trying to run your own online digital agency, if you're trying to resell SaaS, if you're trying to sell SEO or video editing, anything online, you're running any online business where you're doing a remote digital service. These are the four main components that you have to master, starting with traffic generation, going into a conversion mechanism, and then fulfilling what you told the client that you would fulfill, right? Behind those three things, we have what we call operations. If you have no idea what any of those four things are, do not worry. I'm going to explain every single one of them. Now, if you have no idea who I am, doesn't really matter, but just to let you know, my name is Alec. I run SASO University. It's essentially a DIY community where we focus on helping agency owners actually scale their agency. What we don't do is we don't do what every other scam affiliate coach does, where they essentially sell you a fever dream. They show you how to maybe complete one or two tasks that you need to actually start and scale a business, and then they leave you high and dry when you have questions. We don't do that here. Okay. Now, you can always join Taste University. There's a little banner at the bottom going that has more information on it. But what I'm going to be doing in these videos is I'm going to be essentially giving you free value to show you that I know what I'm talking about. Another thing that's going to separate me from 99% of these scam affiliate coaches is that SASO University is a small facet of my actual business. My actual business is SASO Funnels. And in SASO Funnels, I'm hitting 5 figures a month in net profit. And I've only been doing this for about 9 months on my own. Before that, I was working with other companies doing what I'm doing now for them, but I wasn't getting paid what I was making them. So that's why I went on my own. That's a little bit about me. Not that anybody cares, but let's jump into the four main components of any online business. Now, you could go a step further and say that this applies to most businesses, but the focus of this content is going to be on remote, online, however you want to phrase it, online digital agencies. We are doing everything online. We are fulfilling everything online. We're doing all of this from a computer or a laptop, and then, of course, with a smartphone of some kind, right? So, number one, let's go to our whiteboard. Let's get out our little dry erase marker. Number one, you're going to have traffic generation. Now, in traffic generation, what you need is you need to generate an audience. You need to create an audience. How do we do that? Well, in SIS University, we explain how to create content that resonates with your target avatar. And the entire goal is to essentially attract people who would potentially work with you or potentially hire you. So, how do you do that? Well, if you don't know the industry, then you're going to have to speak to people within the industry. You're going to have to do some online research, but you're essentially going to make content that helps those businesses, that provides value. Now, we don't want to do tips and tricks because that's going to friend zone us, but rather we want to create problem agitating content that shows them that, hey, you have a problem. I want to make you aware you have a problem. I want you to understand that problem is what's holding you back. And I want you to understand that I have solved this problem in the past, which means I can most likely solve this problem for you. Now, if you're wondering, do I need experience within that industry? Experience is only going to help you. If you don't have experience, then you need to leverage someone else's experience, which means you're going to have to work with somebody for maybe a free or discounted rate. Or you're also going to have to volunteer your time, whether that's working with somebody or immense research. I like to do both of those. And then as I'm working with clients, I like to make sure that I'm learning as much as I can with every single client, which is going to help me with other clients. So we want to create traffic or we want to create content that attracts an audience. And then through that audience, we want to, through our content, we want to push them to our conversion mechanism. Now, I want to clarify something that a lot of people get wrong about the conversion mechanism. The conversion mechanism does not actually convert. Let me explain. When we are referring to conversion, what we're referring to are the actions taken from the client to sign up to be converted from a lead into a buyer, from a visitor into an actual client. But what do I mean when I say that the client is not actually converted at the conversion mechanism? What we're doing is we're using the traffic generation, which is content. We're using this to actually convert. You will convert buyers through your content. Then once they have decided that they're going to take action, then they will go to your conversion funnel or your conversion mechanism or your conversion form, whatever thing you have, right? Then they'll go there and they'll buy. And if you have any doubts about that, go look at some major content creators and they have a huge audience and then they build a really crappy Shopify store and yet it still sells out every time they go into stock, right? Now, the smart ones evolve the conversion mechanism. They make it better. They split test and they optimize it to increase conversion rate. But at the end of the day, when you're starting out, traffic generation is the most important thing. So we want to generate traffic, then we want to push them to a conversion mechanism. Now, some people may say, well, I do conversion rate optimization and really have a strong landing page and, yada, yada, yada. That's where you're going to make most of your money. Not starting out. No, you won't. Here's why. Go look at Amazon. Amazon is one of the biggest online retailers ever, if not the biggest, right? They have an average conversion rate of 14% at the height. Okay. So its highest average conversion rate is 14%. Let me ask you, if you have 0 people going to that website, how many people are going to convert? 0. If you send 100 people to that website and you have a 14% conversion rate, how many people are going to convert? Roughly 14. So the number, yes, goes up the more traffic you send. However, Amazon, being the top player in the industry, has a max conversion rate of 14% on average. That means that there's only so much so that you can convert on the conversion mechanism, which is the landing page, the product page, the form, whatever. So how do we get around that pesky conversion rate? Well, we've got to flood traffic, because 100 people at 14% is very different than 200 million at 14%, right? That's where Amazon does super, super well. So for you, the conversion mechanism is important, yes. But so many times I see people so focused on this. They're focused on the wrong aspect. Set up your conversion rate and then push your traffic. And if you still don't believe me, let me ask you this. How do you gather data to optimize the conversion mechanism? You do it by pushing so much traffic that you get accurate information as to what actions are being taken. This is basic, basic statistics. If you have a coin, heads, tails, if I flip that coin 5 times, what are the odds that I'm going to get tails or heads? You might think 50%, 50-50. But if I flip it, what if I got tails 4 times? Does that mean that the odds are not 50-50? No, it means that we have not collected enough data to find the true probability of achieving one side or the other. So let's say in a perfect world with a perfect coin where I'm going to get heads 50-50 and tails 50-50, what I have to do if I truly want to approach that 50% number is I have to flip the coin more volume, more traffic. That is what I'm referring to. So what we'd have to do, if you truly want to see a 50-50% split, again, assuming the coin is perfectly balanced, what you would need is you would need to flip the coin more and more. And as you flip the coin more and more, you would slowly approach the accurate information. As the sample size approaches the population size, the information becomes more accurate. So I say that to say, if you're a big fan of creating a beautiful landing page and a beautiful funnel and a beautiful conversion mechanism, right? I've seen some gorgeous forms even, right? Type form, jot form, some really well done stuff. The fact of the matter is you cannot have enough data to make accurate decisions when it comes to adjusting or tailoring that funnel until you push enough traffic to that conversion mechanism to now say, okay, now that I've had 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 visitors, now let me start split testing and let's see what resonates better. And of course, if you don't know what split testing is, basically you have 2 identical versions of the same exact landing page. So the exact page where they're going to buy, but we change only one variable at a time. So maybe we change the font, or maybe we change the font size, or maybe we change the color of something, or maybe we change the button, maybe we change the call to action, the pictures. We change one variable so we can hypothesize and test what is going to have a bigger or lesser difference. That is how you're going to actually create a strong, powerful conversion mechanism. So remember, just to reiterate, we need to generate enough traffic to where the data that goes into the conversion mechanism is accurate. How do we get it accurate? We need the sample size to approach population size. Translation, in this case, more is better. So you've got to send more. So again, it's going to be strong top of funnel content. This is going to be where 99% of businesses that I work with, agency owners I work with, they fail at the traffic generation level. Why? Because traffic generation compounds. It's like investing. People don't want to invest up front because it's going to be a long game. Yes, you have to play the long game. The beauty of using social media is that it's much more evergreen than ads. It's much more evergreen. It's also free. Ads cost money. Using social media does not cost money. So I have got more videos on that coming later. But as of right now, you need to understand that traffic generation, when you're starting out and you're trying to generate high quality leads, is the single most important thing. Is going to be high quality content that is going to generate traffic. Then that traffic will be pushed to the conversion mechanism, which is where the physical action takes place. But remember, the buyer actually decides at the conversion, not at the conversion level, but rather at the content level. And again, if you don't believe me, when have you bought something online from maybe an influencer or anything? It's always the advertisement that catches your eye. It's always the video content. It's always whatever. And then you go, cool, where do I buy it? You don't go, where do I buy it? And then see the conversion mechanism, which is the checkout page of the form and go, no. Now, some people might, but again, we're not going to know. You're definitely not going to know until you generate enough traffic and go, cool. Now I can look at the data. Maybe the traffic generation is high, but my conversion is low. So now let me start split testing with the conversion mechanism. But until you generate and push a lot of traffic to that conversion mechanism, you're going to have no idea. Now, once you convert, you've got to fulfill. Now, how do you fulfill? Well, fulfilling, I can't help you with too much, but I can point you in the right direction. When it comes to fulfillment, if you're doing SEO, you better know SEO. If you're doing video editing, you better know video editing. If you're doing paid ads, you better know paid ads, right? And so the way that you're going to start getting more and more confident with fulfillment is very simple. It's reps. It's like working out. You get better at doing a movement by doing that movement repetitively. You're going to fail. You have to be okay with failing. Once you have swallowed your pride and you've understood that I'm going to fail, now you can say, cool, now that I know I'm going to fail, how many times do I have to fail before I succeed? How many lessons do I need to learn as I go? And this is going to be the most beautiful on the job training that you're going to achieve compared to any other job, because you are learning firsthand, start to finish, how to do this entire process. So when it comes to fulfillment, the really, really easy answer that I can give you for fulfillment is make sure you start by just volunteering your time, because then if you mess up, who can be upset? So you're doing it for free for maybe 1 to 3 people, no more than 3 people, 5 at the very, very most. Do not go above 5 free people. And then what you're going to do is you're going to work with them for a limited amount of time or for a limited project. And then you can say, hey, if you want me to keep working with you, these are going to be my rates. And then anybody past 5, you can let them know, hey, these are my rates starting out. They can be a little bit lower, or you can just go straight into charging what you feel you're going to charge. It really depends on what you're offering. I've got more on that coming as well. I have a ton of that in SASO University already. But when it comes to the fulfillment, start on YouTube for the knowledge base, go to YouTube University, and then turn around and work with people for free to get the actual on-the-job training. The beauty of doing it that way is that everything looks good on paper. Everything looks good on paper. It's not until rubber hits the road that you go, oof, this did or didn't work the way I thought it would. So you study just a little bit. Don't try to learn everything you can on YouTube. It's going to be way too much. Learn enough to be confident to start, just to start. And then once you start, you'll learn as you go. You'll make mistakes. That's okay. Give yourself a little patience. Give yourself a little grace. Fail as you go. If you're in SASO University, ask me. I will help you with every single step of the way. But that's essentially how you're going to learn when you're scaling your agency. Now, there's a lot of other things that go into fulfillment. For example, we could discuss how you're going to keep your churn low and how you're going to be doing outreach to existing clients and how you're going to be acting as a CSM or a customer success manager, right? Where you're trying to just keep them happy so they don't leave. But essentially, it boils down to, with fulfillment, can you provide what you said you provide? So don't overpromise, only speak on what you know, and then expand what you know by working with people, either free or discounted, or just explain the situation. I don't know this, so I'd love to trade my work and my time for you because you don't have XYZ. I can provide XYZ, but it's my first time doing XYZ. So I'll offer it to you for free. And in exchange, you just give me feedback. Sound fair? Cool. And so those are your 3 main pillars. Now, what do operations refer to? Operations refers to the entire structure behind the entire thing. The way that I like to look at operations, some people like to jump in and they like to build out the whole back end and the whole how we're going to do every single thing. That's fairly easy to do when you've built a company before, when you've done this a time or 2 before, right? If you are brand new, the best thing that you can do, let me change the color of the pen. This is the best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is you're going to come to conversion mechanism and you're going to build this first. Because when it comes to building your conversion mechanism, you want to take roughly 1 to 3 days total. So number 1, conversion mechanism, let's say 3 days. Excuse my handwriting. So 3 days to build your conversion mechanism, right? That's all the time you're going to allot for yourself. Then every single day, you're going to work on traffic generation, which is going to be done through social media. Why? Because social media is free. because when you DM people, what can happen? They can go look at your page and they're going to see on your page, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. Guess what? You can't do that with cold email. They can't go to your page from cold email. They're not going to do that. They're going to be like, okay, cool, spam, junk. You do cold call, they can't verify who you are. There's no trust factor. When you do social media and you have content on your page, it's going to verify that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and you've worked with people in the past, right? It is going to be the way you establish trust and credibility. Now, once you create content, not only will that attract people slowly but surely, the more you attract, the more compounds, and it will attract more and more and more, like the magnet grows, so to speak, like a black hole gets bigger and it sucks in more and more. That's number one. Number two, now that you have a social media presence, you can start reaching out to people and you can do what I call the ultimate downsell. When you reach out to people and you try to pitch your offer, let's say they say no, right? Let's say I'm not interested. Okay, cool. This is the ultimate downsell. You can turn around and say, well, if you want to follow my page, in exchange for you following my page, I'll make content on anything you're struggling on. And if you're struggling on that topic, then odds are other businesses might be struggling on the topic. So you're essentially getting a social media follower, which is going to build your social proof. You might be able to retarget them with more social media content for free because they're following you. And you're making content that's going to resonate with other people who are already following or other people who are browsing your account and now they might follow. So essentially, you can do what I call the ultimate downsell. They don't want to work with you. You get them on to the social media, which is free. You make content. Why would they follow you? Well, you're making content that's going to solve a problem they have. And of course, that content resonates with them and it resonates with other people already following you. It's the ultimate downsell. So then after your conversion mechanism, you're going to go and you're going to do social media and you're going to create content. You're going to create, there's several ways to post-produce content. What I like to do is I like to make all my content on the weekend, chop it all up, post-produce it, and then schedule it throughout the week. Take me 2 hours a week. It's phenomenal. So that's number two. And you're not going to do this all day. You want to post once a day on every platform. If that sounds like a lot, I have a post-produced social media content strategy within SASO University where I essentially show you how to make enough content for 30 days out of 1 hour. So you record for 1 hour, you post-produce content for 30 days, and that is the most time efficient method that I've seen. And so then as you're making content to attract leads and you're reaching out and actually actively looking for leads. Then you're going to worry about fulfillment. Fulfillment is going to be once you have somebody who's signed on, we want to start fulfilling them. Now with the fulfillment, what you're going to do is you need to essentially do what you said you were going to do. That's really the simplest way to put it. You're going to do what you said you need to do. Now, this depends time-wise on what you said you were going to do, but what you need to do as you're fulfilling, whether it's the first or the 100th client, is you want to document everything you're doing. You want to document the task you did, the order in which you did them, how you communicated to the client, things that went well, things that didn't go well, things that could have gone better, things that you feel like you missed. You want to document everything. You want to journal every single thing about that fulfillment. You can do that in a Google Doc, pen and paper. You can do it in ClickUp or Notion. It doesn't really matter. Find a place to document it, document the whole thing. I view it in a Google Drive because I can organize all of my clients' folders. And then in the clients' folders, I can have what I call lessons learned. This is basic project management. In the lessons learned is just going to be where you're documenting every single thing that's going on. And so the beauty of it is, as you work with more clients and as you document more and more and more, what you can start to do is you can start to build out the standard operating procedure. This is the way in which you complete tasks from start to finish. And so as you're documenting the fulfillment aspect, you can also document how you built your conversion mechanism, or maybe how you're building conversion mechanism for clients. You can document how you're building your traffic generation assets, whether it's social media, SEO blogs, paid ads, cold outreach, any of that content. You can start documenting how you do that. And as you document how you do that, you start creating the SOP for every single one of these. And that is going to be essentially the operations. It's going to be how you structure everything, how you automate everything. And then you're going to go through the SASO University training where we actually cover what SASO stands for. It's how we apply Six Sigma and project management practices to service local-based businesses. We're going to simplify the business, automate the business, scale the business, and optimize the business. And then we're going to continue optimizing by repeating the 4 steps over and over again. This will put your business on autopilot and it will allow you and afford you to do exactly what I did when I scaled SASO Finals. It will allow you to work less than 2 hours a day on your business, sometimes less than 1 hour a day on your business. And I'm talking 4 to 5 days a week. It's been a beautiful journey for me. I've been super blessed. I can't say it enough how blessed I've been. What I want to do now is I want to provide more content for you all to help you all go through the same journey. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, requests on anything at all, you can comment under the video or you can DM me directly. I'm on all social media platforms, or rather, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The handle is at Alec J. Roy. So hit me up if you have any questions. Hope this video helps and have a good one.